What if the closure you're searching for isn't found in her apology, but in the moment you no longer need it when someone walks away? It leaves a wound, not just from the absence, but from the echo of everything that was once promised. You replay the memories, the moments, the what-ifs. But here's what most men don't realize. The real shift doesn't happen when she regrets losing you. It happens when you stop waiting for her to. This isn't about revenge. It's about release. Because her realization, if it ever comes, will be quiet and late. It won't arrive with drama or fireworks. It'll come in the stillness, when she sees you've changed in ways she no longer has access to. Psychologically, what haunts the human mind most is not rejection, but being forgotten. And when your energy no longer bends toward her, when your life becomes full without her, that's when the gravity shifts. She'll feel it. Not because you told her, but because you no longer need to. This is your turning point, from clinging to clarity, to becoming it, from hoping she sees your worth, to walking like a man who already knows it. If you're ready to let her regret live in silence while you move forward with strength, hit like, subscribe, and comment. I don't wait for what's already left. Let's begin. Number 1. The Fall. Let her go without closure. Right now, the pain is sharp. You replay every moment, every goodbye, trying to make sense of the silence she left behind. The urge to ask, why, pulls at you like a tide, relentless, convincing you that if you just understood her reasons, maybe the ache would stop. But here's the truth. Closure is an illusion crafted by the part of you that still wants control. She left, and maybe she never explained why. Or maybe she did, but the explanation didn't satisfy the wound. Because the pain wasn't just from her departure, it was from the story you built around her staying. And now, that story has collapsed. But that collapse, it's not your end. It's your fall and the start of everything real. You see, men who chase closure are really chasing emotional permission to move on. But stoicism demands something higher. It demands you let go of it. Because a man who needs nothing from someone who's walked away is untouchable. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. And freedom begins the moment you stop begging for clarity from someone who chose confusion. So what do? You vanish not in bitterness, but in brilliance. You don't call, you don't text, you don't ask if she's okay. You let the silence ring. You let her feel the weight of your absence without explanation. This isn't revenge. This is reclamation. Every message you don't send, every emotion you don't leak, builds something powerful inside you, emotional discipline. And that discipline, it does what words never could. Psychologically, people feel haunted by what they can't resolve. When you disappear without collapse, without screaming or performing, you become a mirror to everything they weren't ready to face. You become the open loop. Their mind can't close, not because you played games, but because you finally stopped playing at all. The most powerful version of you is not the one she understands. It's the one she never figured out. The one who let go without permission. The one who didn't need her pain to justify his growth. So when you feel the need to reach out, to beg for meaning, to chase one last word, pause, breathe, and remember, your silence is your signature. Let it say everything you no longer will. Now speak it and own it. I let her go, not because I had closure, but because I no longer needed it. Number 2, the silence. Stop reacting. Start observing. Right now, you might be checking her stories, wondering what her silence means, tempted to break your own boundaries just to feel connected again, even if it's just a like, a message, a glimpse of reaction. That's the trap. Every move you make from a place of emotion feeds the power she still holds. And the truth is, It's not her attention you need to reclaim, it's your center. When you react, you lose control. Every emotional text, every scroll through her feed, every unanswered call, it hands her your energy on a silver plate. Not because she asked, but because you haven't yet asked yourself the harder question, why am I still giving this away? Stoicism teaches that what we don't control, we mustn't chase. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So, here's your moment of truth. Do you want to be noticed, or do you want to be free? Your silence isn't weakness, it's your recalibration. It's how you shift from emotional dependency to personal sovereignty. Because when you stop reacting, something strange happens. You start seeing clearly. Her patterns, her inconsistencies, the red flags you ignored in the fog of affection. You don't just become silent, you become dangerous. Not because you're playing games, but because you've stopped playing altogether. Your silence becomes a boundary, a signal that the version of you that needed constant reassurance no longer exists. And in that stillness, she'll feel it, not just your absence, but the void of power she once held. This isn't about manipulating her. It's about remembering you. When you stop seeking answers through her behavior, you start discovering the truth in your own. And that truth, it grounds you, it sharpens your awareness. You stop watching her and start watching yourself. Your triggers, your habits, your growth. Here's your action. No contact, no emotional leakage, no digital breadcrumbing. Let her wonder, not because you want her to suffer, but because you finally refuse to. Every hour of silence becomes a brick in the fortress of your new self. Psychologically, silence reverses the power dynamic. When someone expects chaos and is met with calm, it disrupts their control. And what she once interpreted as your weakness becomes your mystery. She doesn't know where you stand anymore. And that unknowing creates the tension you used to feel. So hold the line. Let silence speak where words would only weaken you. And in that space, rebuild the man who doesn't need permission to feel powerful. Now speak it out. I stopped reacting, not because I stopped caring, but because I started observing. Number 3, the mirror. Level up without her. Right now, you feel the ache. The space where she used to be is empty, and the silence echoes louder than any goodbye. But this isn't where you break, this is where you begin. Because in her absence, something powerful is waiting to take her place. You, the man you were before her, he was reactive, perhaps a bit scattered, caught up in emotion and expectation. But the man can you become now? He's forged in fire, in solitude, in self-discipline. Not for her, not to prove anything, but to return to yourself sharper, calmer, more whole. Here's what most men do after a breakup. Spiral. They drink, distract, sleep around, scroll endlessly, hoping to numb the void. But that only deepens it, because every shortcut away from pain is a detour from growth. A Stoic sees things differently. As Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. This pain isn't your punishment, it's your pressure chamber. Your signal to level up. Your invitation to become the version of you that never needs to be chosen to feel worthy. So instead of chasing closure, you chase clarity. Instead of texting her, you train. Instead of checking her page, you build a new one. You turn the energy that once fueled longing into discipline, reps at the gym, early mornings, focused work, cleaner habits. You stop trying to impress anyone and start respecting yourself again. And as you rise, something fascinating happens. She checks in, not because she loves you, but because she's curious. Because your silence plus your glow up is deafening. But here's where the test comes. Do you slip back into being the man who needed her attention? Or do you remain the man who outgrew it? This transformation isn't revenge, it's resurrection. The man you're becoming doesn't seek to make her regret. He's too busy making himself proud. Psychologically, this shift resets the narrative. You're no longer the abandoned one. You're the ascended one, and once you taste the clarity of purpose, you'll realize it was never about her, it was about the version of you that stopped showing up when she left. So don't wait to be chosen. Choose the grind. Choose the discomfort. Choose the power of becoming undeniable. Now say it and step into it. She left, but I didn't fall. I rebuilt. Number 4. The shift. Detach to regain control. You loved her deeply. That much is true. But somewhere along the way, love turned into dependency. Your happiness hinged on her texts, your peace on her moods, your self-worth on her presence. And when she left, it felt like gravity collapsed. But what truly collapsed wasn't love. It was the illusion that you needed her to feel whole. That illusion is the real enemy. Because when love becomes survival, it's no longer love, it's addiction. And the first step to healing isn't closure. It's detachment. Not out of apathy, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Detachment is not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. As Epictetus taught, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. And the way she feels, the way she acts, the way she disappears, all beyond your control. But your response, that's yours, always. Right now, you may still be tempted to check in, to scroll through her photos, to mentally write the next chapter of a story that's already ended. But that's the trap, replaying a past that's no longer serving your present. The more you hold on, the more power you give away. Here's the shift. You stop trying to keep her. You start trying to keep yourself. Instead of asking, how do I get her back? You ask, how do I come back to myself? That's when the energy changes. You stop leaking emotional fuel into a past that can't hold you. You pour it into your mission, your body, your future. You detach, not to punish her, but to protect the version of you that almost disappeared, chasing love that didn't stay. And then something unexpected happens. Freedom. You wake up one day and realize you didn't think about her first. That your peace isn't interrupted by old memories. That your silence isn't empty. It's solid. You've built something real in the space she left behind. Yourself, psychologically. This creates a power reversal. She no longer feels your emotional pull, no longer senses your need. And if she reaches out, it's not because you begged, it's because your detachment created a vacuum, one that only a grounded man can generate. But here's the truth. By then, you may not want her back. Not out of pride, but out of clarity. You've seen what love looks like when it comes with strings. And now, you've tasted the peace of not needing anything from anyone to feel whole. Now speak it into your new reality. I didn't lose her. I reclaimed myself. Number 5, the test. When she comes back, don't break your growth. It always starts subtly. Hey, a story view. A song you both used to love playing on her feed. After weeks, maybe months, of silence, she reappears. Not with apology, not with clarity, just enough to trigger your old reflexes. And in that moment, you're tested not by her message, but by your own evolution. This is the moment most men fail. They mistake her return for redemption, for love, for the second chance they've been secretly waiting for. But often, it's not reconciliation, it's curiosity. She doesn't miss you, she misses her effect on you. She's checking to see if she still has pull, if the door's still unlocked. And if you answer that knock too quickly, you confirm everything she assumed. That no matter how far she strayed, your world still orbits her. But the stoic man doesn't open that door with eagerness. He stands behind it with discernment. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, and the best way to rise above this moment is not to lash out or ignore. In bitterness, it's to remain rooted in your frame. You're no longer the man who seeks permission to be chosen. You're the man who chooses himself. So when she returns, remember this: the version of you she once walked away from no longer exists. You didn't grow for her, you grew despite her. And the man you've become, he doesn't get pulled back into patterns. He has already outgrown. Here's your shift. Observe. Don't react. If she reaches out, stay composed. Let her words be measured against her actions. Let her prove not with nostalgia, not with flirtation, but with commitment, clarity, and consistency. And even then, you're under no obligation to say yes, because sometimes the real test isn't whether she comes back. It's whether you still want her once she does. Psychologically, this flips the entire dynamic. You no longer seek her validation. She now has to earn your attention, and if she can't rise to meet the man you've become, then your silence continues not out of malice, but out of self-honor. You don't punish her return. You outgrow it. Now say it with clarity and strength. She came back, but I didn't return to who I was. Number 6, the frame. Keep your center, or lose everything. It starts subtly. You begin bending, rearranging plans, softening your edges to keep her close. You lose sleep trying to decipher her silence. Shrink your dreams to fit her comfort, and justify behavior you once would have walked away from. Slowly, your center disappears, and so does your power. And the cruel irony, that's usually when she starts losing interest, because no woman respects a man who abandons himself. When she becomes your purpose, your presence weakens, not because you care too much, but because you forget who you were before she entered the frame. In Stoic philosophy, the frame is your internal architecture, your mission, values, and emotional ground. Marcus Aurelius stood firm in this, writing, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it." And once your frame is gone, once she senses her emotions now define your reality, you're no longer a man, you're a reaction. So here's the truth you must face if you made her the center. It's not her fault she walked away. It's yours for stepping out of your own gravity. But here's the opportunity you can reclaim it. You rebuild your center not with noise, but with discipline. You stop trying to win her back and start winning yourself again. You wake up early. You revisit your goals. You move with purpose, not apology. You no longer check her feed, you check your habits. You no longer chase her approval, you chase your potential. And then something happens. She notices. The pull she once felt starts to return, not because you're seeking her, but because you've become scarce, grounded, magnetic. But this time, your frame is protected. If she returns, she enters your world, not the other way around. Psychologically, a strong frame reactivates polarity. It signals that your self-worth isn't negotiable, that no matter how beautiful, how emotional, how persuasive someone is, you will not betray your standard, and that creates tension, mystery, respect, because the man who cannot be emotionally hijacked is the man who cannot be replaced. Your emotions are not a battlefield, they are a fortress, and anyone who enters your life must be worthy of the space. Now speak it with calm conviction. I no longer orbit others, I hold my own gravity. Number 7, the power. Become a man. She can't read. She used to read to you like a script. Every emotion on your face, every thought behind your words. She knew when you were upset before you spoke, when you'd reach out before you even did. And in that predictability, she lost the thrill, because what is easily read becomes easily dismissed. But then, you changed. You became still, not cold, not detached, but unreadable. She could no longer decode your silences. Couldn't predict your next move, couldn't figure out whether you missed her or had already moved on. And in that uncertainty, you became powerful. Stoicism teaches us to be ruled not by emotion, but by clarity. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And when you stop reacting, when you begin moving with intention instead of impulse, you regain your emotional sovereignty. You become the man who cannot be pulled by every glance, word, or test. This kind of power isn't theatrical. It's subtle. It's in your tone, in the way you pause before speaking, in how you don't rush to explain yourself or overreact when she pulls away. She expects fire, and you give her fog. She throws the bait, and you don't bite. You stay quiet, focused, composed. And that composure, it shifts everything. You're no longer giving her what she's used to. You're giving her what she didn't know she craved, uncertainty with direction. You're present, but not available on demand. Emotionally intelligent, but not emotionally exposed. She no longer feels in control of the dynamic, and that reversal. It haunts her. This is not about being manipulative. It's about becoming sovereign. Your silence becomes strategic. Your calm becomes commanding. You let your actions speak. And even then, you let them speak quietly. In practice, this means answering when necessary. Not immediately, listening more than you speak. Saying less with more precision. Letting your life, not your lips, explain who you are. Psychologically, mystery triggers emotional engagement. The brain begins to scan, analyze, and overthink. And when a woman can't read you, she starts to feel you more, not because you're louder, but because she's now paying attention to what was once too easy to ignore. You've become rare. You've become valuable. You've become felt. Now say it and live it. I stopped being readable and became unforgettable. Number 8. The law. Don't chase what runs. She walked away, maybe slowly, maybe suddenly, but in that moment, everything in you screamed to follow, to reach out, to fight for what once felt unshakable. But the moment you chase, you lose more than just your pride. You lose your gravity. And a man without gravity cannot hold anything, let alone respect. It's a natural reflex to pursue what pulls away. But nature has its own rules. And one of them is this: what runs from you does not value you. To chase is to affirm their importance over your own. To declare, in silence or in text, you have something I can't live without. But you do. You have yourself. Stoicism doesn't tell you to be indifferent, it tells you to be discerning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are rooted in lack, desperation, or fear, your actions will mirror that. But if your thoughts are rooted in worth, restraint, and power, so too will be your silence. When she leaves, your job is not to run after her, it's to stand still, not frozen in heartbreak, but grounded in dignity. Because every step you take towards someone who doesn't choose you is a step away from yourself. And here's the paradox. The more you chase, the further she runs. Not because she's cruel, but because human nature doesn't crave what's too available. Chasing confirms her value. Your absence forces her to question it. So here's the shift. Let her go, fully, quietly, without warning or collapse. You're not proving a point, you're protecting your peace. You no longer seek to be chosen by someone who couldn't recognize your worth the first time. You become scarce, not out of strategy, but because you have a mission that doesn't pause for people who waver psychologically. This creates a reversal. The absence that once terrified you begins to work in your favor. She wonders if she was wrong, if she underestimated you. If someone else now stands in the space you left open for too long, but that's not your concern anymore. You're no longer auditioning, you're building, becoming, and anything or anyone that runs from that energy is not meant to walk beside it. Now speak it into discipline. I don't chase what leaves. I attract what aligns. Number 9. The focus, purpose of a people. She was once your center. Every thought circled her, every decision, every plan somehow factored her in. You measured your day by her attention, your mood by her responses. But when you make a woman your mission, you lose the mission and eventually you lose her too, because no one respects a man who abandons his path to follow theirs. The truth is, she didn't fall for you because you needed her. She was drawn to your momentum, your ambition, your focus, your direction. But the moment she became your compass, your drive dimmed. You gave her the role that belonged to your purpose, and nothing unravels masculine energy faster than putting a person in the place of a principle. A stoic man knows his worth is rooted in what he builds, not in who stays. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, a man's worth is no greater than his ambitions. When you let your goals gather dust while you obsess over someone who's already gone, you're not just delaying success. You're erasing the very thing that made you magnetic in the first place. So here's your shift. Return to the grind, not to numb the pain, but to honor it. Use it as fuel. Let it sharpen your vision. Channel the longing into legacy. Stop asking if she's watching and start building something worth being witnessed. You train harder. You wake up earlier. You double down on your craft, your vision, your momentum, not out of spite, but out of spiritual necessity. Because when you choose mission over memory, your life regains heat, depth, clarity. And ironically, you become what she now chases. But that's no longer the point. You're no longer building to impress her. You're building to impress the man in the mirror, the one who remembers how he felt when he forgot who he was. And now, every day forward is a form of redemption, not for her to see, but for you to feel, psychologically. This restores your center. Your attention is no longer scattered. It's aimed. Your identity is no longer attached. It's forged. And when a man becomes fully engaged in his mission, he doesn't need to be pursued. He becomes magnetic by default. Because the man, on purpose, doesn't need to prove anything. Now declare it and walk it. She was a chapter. My mission is the story. Number 10. The arrival. She'll regret it, but you'll be gone. There's a moment that comes after the silence. After the rebuilding, after you've bled the last drop of hope and turned it into fuel. She sees you again, not the broken version she left, but the man who rose without needing to be found. And suddenly, her silence becomes noise, her absence becomes weight, her choice becomes the echo that follows her. Not you, because she expected you to wait, to weaken, to wander in circles, hoping she'd return. But you didn't. You walked forward slowly, painfully, deliberately, until one day you stopped looking back. And in doing so, you arrived. This arrival isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with revenge or gloating. It arrives quietly in the way you now speak, the way you now move, the way you now hold space for no one but your purpose. You didn't level up to prove her wrong. You leveled up because staying the same would have betrayed yourself. She'll see it. She'll feel it, not through a message or a confrontation, but through the distance she can no longer close, because the man who once would have done anything to be enough is now too far ahead to hear her regret. And here's the lesson she learns too late. The man who chose self-mastery over self-pity can never be re-entered at the same door she exited from. In Stoic philosophy, true peace is not found in having everything, but in needing nothing. Seneca said, He is most powerful who has power over himself. And that's what you gained. Not her approval, not her apology, your power. Psychologically, this final shift is irreversible. You no longer live from the memory of who left you, live from the identity of who arrived. And while she may try to reappear, it won't be because she's changed, it will be because you have. But you won't return, not out of pride, but out of understanding. That the man she wants now is the man who no longer wants what once broke him. You are not her regret. You are her reminder of what she lost when she couldn't see, of what she gave away while you were still learning how to hold yourself together. But you've arrived, not where she is, but where do you belong? Now leave it behind and rise. She may regret it, but I've already moved beyond needing to care. She may remember your kindness, she may replay the times you reached out, but what will truly echo in her mind is the moment she realized you no longer waited. You're not who you were when she left. The man who once sought closure is gone. In his place stands someone who doesn't chase healing, he embodies it. And the most powerful kind of revenge is no revenge at all. Just a life so whole, so rooted, that she can't touch it even if she tried. She'll realize what she lost. But by then, you'll have become someone too far ahead to reach. If that's who you're becoming, like this video, subscribe and comment. I've already outgrown the past. Move forward with calm, with power, without looking back.